one thing, this is a situation that I want to kind of run by because I know you've killed deer in a situation like this, is hunting around clear cuts. Where we're from in Alabama and a lot of places that we hunt in the southeast, heavily dominated by timber, tons of cutting activity, timbering activity. And it's always one of those things that we always find extremely challenging because he's more than likely somewhere in this clear cut. It might be 10 acres, it might be 100 acre clear cut. You're finding a sign associated with it. But maybe walk us through some different scenarios. How do you try to break down buck travel in a situation, a scenario around clear cutting activity and figure out ambush points because of that?
A lot of times, it depends if they're staying in it completely or if they're coming out to feed areas or going to other areas. So, like, I think here on the mountain, up here, there's one area that I'll hunt the underside of it because I know, like, okay, deer in the rut, say if he's looking for does, okay, is he going to bird dog that whole thicket? So what's he going to do?
Run the down edge side.
He's going to run the downhill catching those thermals. So I'll dump off and I'll try to find trails coming out of it and find those areas that the wind, he can take advantage of the wind to scent check that without actually having to walk out in it. Same thing on the upper side of it. If the wind's blowing across it, hunting, a good thick stand of pines or something. I think of a place in Ohio like that. Where the wind is, that I think roving bucks. And that's another thing. You got to figure out what type of buck you're hunting. You got two types. You got, as I call, the rovers. They're the ones out moving. But a lot of your bigger, more dominant bucks, what they do, they'll find a pot of does. They'll have a little sanctuary. They'll go into there and they will stay right there as tight as they can with those does locked up, bedded up until they run out of does in that area. And then they'll move to another, but then he'll be in here. And he may be in there for 5 days. That was the ones you have to figure out, hey, when can I take advantage of it? So, but it depends which type. If you're on an individual buck like that, you just have to find, your highest opportunity, if you got a big, really massive, as they call it, the communal scrape, the this and that, well, you can go sit on the scrape. You ain't going to kill him. 100 yards below that scrape, what's he going to do? He's going to make a J hook in to smell it. So right, if the wind is coming from the scrape down to where he walks in down here, well, where is that opportunity to kill him? Somewhere in that J hook on the down, what's he doing? He's using that wind. His nose goes from threat to looking for sugar mama, right? So he's going, if he's going to walk to the scrape, he's got the nose wind. If he doesn't smell anything in there, another buck, he's going, he's not going to come out of that thicket to it. But, to try to pick up the trail. But right in that J hook, you dump off right below it and take advantage of the same wind he's using to check that. Well, the buck's right here. That wind's still coming by him, and you're set up right down here off that hook. So the whole time he's coming in this way, you have a good chance of killing him right in that bend there.
So he has all the advantage that he thinks that he needs going into. He's comfortable.
Yeah, but he does. But he's losing when his brain goes from threat to 6. He makes that J hook into it, which the only time he's going to go up there to that, or he may walk a linear pattern by it. But the only time he's going to go up there is when he smells something that he needs to either go up and clear the scrape out, which when will be the best time then? Would you say if you're hunting the downwind there, the best time to do that is right after a rain because it's gotten washed out. So he may want to go freshen it up for himself or go up to check it either way. But anyway, right when he's doing that, you'll be set up there for him. So, and if that makes sense.
Absolutely. Well, I want to kind of stay on the trying to figure out bedding from individual bucks, especially pressured deer. That's one thing I think most of the audience can relate with, because very few people have a huge amount of land that they can hunt by themselves. Whether you're in a hunting club, you're on a leash, you're on public land, you have hunting pressure. When it comes to how focused, or do you not, well, let me take this back. Do you truly care in most situations trying to figure out where you think that buck's spending a lot of his daytime movement in a bedding area? Or is it more so pass a travel between location that you think he could be located at?
Yeah. it just depends on the situation. Like one of the areas I hunt a lot, I know where these deer are bedding. 100%. I know where they're bedding in a quarter-mile block. Or it may be a half mile by 200 yards. I know where they're bedding. But can I hunt them there? No. I can't get in visually, 50-50 chance. Scent-wise, probably less than that, but I'm going to get busted. But the big thing is I don't have permission to hunt there. I know what they're going to do. Other areas, it may be a small area that I've got, he's bedding probably within 100 yards of this knoll, because there's some areas, especially in the mountains, in the ridges and stuff, that I can look at. And if you can sit and talk to Nathan, he'll show you boom, 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 boom here. And when we got looking at it, I showed last year that we did that mountain buck hunting seminar, and I showed them something up there in a very similar situation that I had all those guys scratching their heads on. And I'll talk about it in a minute on bedding, what happens. But they have, they have their advantage for the bedding. And it's usually eyes and nose and sound. They use all their senses for it. But some bucks will, they have different ways they like. I've watched some bucks that like to bed just against a creek, and down on the creek bottoms and all. So give me your question one more time.
Well, are you focused more so in certain situations based off trying to figure out where that buck's actually spending the most time, like in a bedding area, versus travel past leading where you think he's coming from?
I probably hunt the travel in and out to the bedding the most, other than early season. And like when white oaks start falling, I think these deer, a lot of times, because you can have 25 oaks dropping and trees, and they're probably going to have a favorite tree out of the bunch in there. And when I start seeing certain rubs and stuff popping around them and fresh deer poop on the ground, real fresh, I'm going to jump all over it. But I think a lot of times I know this happens because I've sat and watched. I've watched certain trees that early season, you can hunt dark to dark, and you can probably see a buck every 2-3 hours, a different buck. And you'll see some bucks 2 or 3 times in a day come in feeding under it. But early season, a lot of times they bed close and they get up, they stretch around, they move, they come over, get a snack, go back. Get up, come. So if I know, say they're bedding right here on the end of this knoll and I got good oaks around it and I go through there and see, fresh sign, fresh rubs popping, I'm going to do my best to sneak in there and be set up. And I may sit there all day if the wind's right, where I can do that and hunt at, that close to bedding. But generally, especially on higher pressure bucks, I don't mess with their bedding. I get as close to it as I can within reason of not being detected, not just from the stand at that, but that night when they walk through, they're going to smell, there. So they don't pick up residual, and they don't pick up, the direct acute smell at the time. So, I will hunt more off of that, trails off of that.